AMD AGESA 1.2.0.2a BIOS comes with performance optimizations for Ryzen 9000 x 3D CPUs, including the upcoming 9800 x 3D. AMD's AGESA 1.2.0.2a BIOS firmware is now rolled out by various motherboard vendors and packs Ryzen 9000 x 3D CPU specific optimizations. Better get the AGESA 1.2.0.2a BIOS firmware if you plan on getting the AMD Ryzen 9000 x 3D CPUs, such as the upcoming Ryzen 7 9800 x 3D. A few days ago, AMD teased its next generation Ryzen 9000 x 3D CPUs, which will make their official debut with the Ryzen 7 9800 x 3D chip. The new 3D V-Cache offerings are going to be aimed at the gaming segment, offering elevated levels of performance that have not been seen on current gen launches such as the Ryzen 9000 Zen 5-inch or Core Ultra 200S Arrow Lake families. These will make the Ryzen 9000 x 3D CPUs the best choice for gamers who are moving from older platforms, and even new builders who are upgrading from a non-X3D Ryzen 7000 CPU. With the launch just a few weeks away, motherboard vendors are now starting to roll out their first AGESA 1.2.0.2a BIOS firmware, which incorporates performance optimizations for the Ryzen X3D CPU family. While the AGESA 1.2.0.2 BIOS firmware is already available with various latency and CCD optimizations, the new 1.2.0.2a BIOS is the one to get if you plan on getting a Ryzen 9000 x 3D CPU. Gigabyte is among the first motherboard vendors to release its latest BIOS based on the new AGESA firmware. The latest BIOS is available for both 800 and 600 series motherboards, but the best part is that it comes preloaded with Gigabyte's new X3D Turbo Mode feature. Some have stated that the X3D Turbo Mode is an official AMD spec. However, that is not true, and other board vendors are also working on their respective implementations for their motherboards. This feature helps provide up to 35% better gaming performance with the upcoming chips by locking SMT and also locking in operations to a single CCD. While the biggest benefit of this feature will be seen on the dual CCD 3D V-Cache offerings, some users have also discovered nice gains in gaming with non-X3D chips and even single CCD X3D parts such as the 7800 x 3D and 7600 x 3D. ASRock has also introduced the same AGESA 1.2.0.2a BIOS firmware updates for its AM5 lineup, which also list performance optimizations for the next-gen Ryzen X3D CPUs along with MIC side improvements. The AMD Ryzen 7 9800 x 3D CPU is expected to launch on the 7th of November, so it won't be long before we get to see the chip in action. The CPU will feature 8 cores, 16 threads, 96 MB of L3 cache, up to 5.2 GHz clock speeds, and a TDP of 120 watts while offering full overclocking support. The dual CCD variants are expected to arrive in early 2025.